Hey everybody, welcome back to the Pixelists. I was feeling very Nick Cage in Gone in 60 Seconds there because the beat drop hadn't happened yet, but I still wanted to wait for it. Anyway, welcome back to the Pixelists, the podcast about all the nerdy things we love and enjoy. I'm Will. That's Blake.
Like Nick Cage, or
are you his character's name? Is that what you're saying?
I think we should just start over. It's kind of weird now. We've made it weird. What? I've made it weird. You made it weird. It's just weird.
Just because of Nick Cage?
There was a long pause. Okay, I didn't know what to do with my hands.
It's fine. That's fine. Do you want to actually start over?
I guess it's okay. This is us. If they don't like who we are, this is us. You know.
That's right. It's a good TV show, by the way.
They could go. No, actually, no.
What?
No, it's not a good TV show.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I've seen it.
No, you
haven't. It's not a good TV show.
You've seen one random episode.
I have not. I saw like the first maybe 3 seasons.
What? Of This Is Us?
Yes.
Okay, well.
Not a good show.
Mr. Heartless, I suppose. I mean, it's not like the greatest show ever, but you know, it's nice it's a little family drama type show. It's the tear ducks, the tear ducks going sometimes.
Mandy Moore is mean.
What? Like in real life or
no? Their character in the show.
I mean, you probably just saw an episode where she was mean
because she's human. All right. You know what? I haven't prepared myself to do like a deep dive review, and so
me neither.
I don't want to get eviscerated for my armchair comments on This Is Us.
I'm not trying to come off like a This Is Us like stan. I just it's a pretty good show, I thought.
Why would you be embarrassed by that? It's such a good show.
I'm not embarrassed by it. I just, you're not trying to come off as and I'm not trying to come off as the other side. It's just a good show. Nothing more, nothing less.
It is a show. That's what I would say.
Better than Thor: Love and Thunder. That much,
bro.
That much is certain.
Can't compare the two.
Anyways,
maybe you just didn't get it. Do you think that's just maybe? I just
flew over my head, I guess.
All right. What are we doing today? What are we talking about today?
Today, if we can rein it in, we're talking about The Last of Us, episode 6 or 7. 6.
No, 7. Episode 7.
So we only have,
got 2 left.
Yeah, we only have 2 more. Episode 7. The flashback episode.
Yes.
Which I guess before we dive straight in, is there anything we actually need to say other than
no?
Our weird
Thank you
comments?
Guys for checking out our weird YouTube channel is what I would say. And enjoy your stay. Don't be a stranger in the comments. Let us know what you thought about The Last of Us. But definitely if you enjoy Dungeons and Dragons, Marvel, other nerd stuff, you can check out some of our other content. Or if you have content you want us to check out ourselves, which I shouldn't give you that offer because we have no time. We can't even cover what we need to. Will, I know you just got a video up for Mando season 3.
Yeah.
Like a pre-video. And then we're chatting about Worlds Beyond Number as well. But yeah, some other content. So enjoy your stay. Grab a coffee.
Exactly. And I don't want to sidetrack us anymore, but I've seen Ant-Man. I don't think you have.
Not yet.
Okay. Maybe we haven't talked Marvel in a long time. So
yeah,
I don't want to say we're going to talk Ant-Man, but maybe we'll talk Ant-Man.
I'm supposed to see it next Friday.
Okay.
These days, when you have kids, it's like a whole shebang. You got to get the babysitter. It's got to be on a night that babysitter can come. Right. It's never easy. But I think next Friday is date night.
Okay, nice. So yeah, maybe we'll have that coming down the pipeline as well. But today,
it's Joy's. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's Joy's favorite Marvel.
Oh, Ant-Man is.
It is
nice.
Which I've heard people say they don't like it, so I hope she's gonna be okay.
I'll save my thoughts, but it wasn't that great, unfortunately.
Yeah, okay. All right.
It wasn't terrible. Like you'll still have a good time.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe we'll talk more.
You put it somewhere between This Is Us and Thor, or
definitely better than Thor.
Okay.
In my opinion. Well, pretty close, honestly, for me. But you really liked Thor, right? So maybe
I did. All right. Let's talk Last of Us. So episode 7, gut reaction. What'd you think?
I mean, I liked it. I've liked every episode this season. This for those of you that didn't play the game, this story was kind of the DLC for the first game.
Right.
And we I did see some people complaining about like they really like kind of want to know what's happening in the present, especially with Joel being in such a like precarious situation. So especially if you didn't play the game, I could kind of see that I don't know if criticism is the right word. Criticism of it, but me, knowing kind of knowing more than we've seen, I was cool with it. I liked getting this flashback and I really liked seeing that part of the story. So I enjoyed it. What about you?
I liked in like a self-contained evaluating an episode. I liked the episode. I thought it was a great episode. I think it did justice to the DLC.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there would have been a better way to port the DLC over to an hour-long episode, which we talked in our reaction, which is in the depths of my Google Drive, that basically, I remember this part from the DLC, like playing it through. So I think they did a good job. I haven't read any reviews on it, haven't read any comments on it, so I don't know what people have said. From like a season perspective, I really disliked where this episode was. This was like peak early 2000s television for me, when like the show is building to the season finale, and then like the episode before the finale, or like 2 episodes before, you're watching, you're like, what's gonna happen? Like I remember where they left off, and it's a flashback episode.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, you know what I'm talking about? Like
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's very anime too.
Okay, yeah.
I know you haven't seen as much anime, but very much so. Like you're getting to the final battle, and now it's like a flashback of the main characters as kids, and
yeah,
they put it off.
That like season stereotype or cliche or whatever you want to call it, I heavily dislike that. I feel like it's such an interrupter to like the momentum of the story. And really towards the end of the game, the momentum, it just builds and builds, like from the university scene to David, which we'll see this next episode, to the actual finale. Like it's going up the roller coaster. So this episode, where it like purposely pulls back the momentum a bit, especially in a high stakes situation where Joel is like bleeding out, very weird to me. Very weird to me. But separate from like evaluating the season, I like the episode.
Yeah. So that's the same criticism that I had seen, that I was alluding to, is people being kind of like, what? Like, why are you doing this now? So I think that's fair. And I kind of agree with, it's kind of a stunt to the pacing. But, and again, I don't want to like, I guess this isn't spoilery, but again, since I have like the grander perspective of knowing sort of what happens, I was okay with it. But I will say that that is completely fair. I don't know, like, in a perfect world for you, would you have slotted this earlier in the season, or would you have just not included it?
It's tough. It's tough to answer that, because Bill and Frank is another episode that it was a very small, relatively portion of the story that got its whole episode, which was also a great episode. But for me, I guess for me, where I find myself wondering is the answer to that question: where would I put it? And I don't know if I would have put it earlier, but I do wonder if maybe it would have made sense less as like its own episode, and more if you cut up. Because think about like the first few episodes had the pre splash, whatever it's called, like the stinger at the start, and they stopped doing that.
Right.
So like I just wonder what happens if you take this episode and you chop it up, and like the last 4 or 5 episodes is like the pre stinger, whatever you call it. And then maybe this episode gets like a more elongated section. Maybe it's like 20 minutes. I don't know. But other than that, I don't know where you fit it. I will say, as someone who played the game, it feels the main story has felt this back half a little rushed. And I mentioned this in our last episode. The university sequence is so much more expanded in the game that I'm surprised they sped through it so fast. And knowing we only have 2 episodes left, I'm actually also pretty apprehensive what remains getting the attention that I really hope it does. So I don't know.
Yeah, it feels like almost the entire next episode is just David, and it almost has to wrap up in one episode. I guess Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, maybe it does, maybe it does. I don't know. I will say it's going to be weird if it's wrapped up in one episode, because Henry and Sam is although a meaningful part in the game, it's such a smaller sequence
Right.
compared to David, and at least my perspective. And so that sequence got 2 episodes with like this whole built out, Kansas City, here's the world, here's what's like a
Yeah.
lot of more world building here. So for the David sequence to be 1 episode, I guess it's not really worth talking about it since we haven't even seen it yet. But um, overall, I love the season, but I have some curiosity and a little apprehension for how it's going to wrap up.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, especially, I mean, we do know that, like they've said, this season is covering the first game, right? Like, is there any
Right.
chance season 2 could cover parts of the first game still?
I
I
don't
guess
think
not.
so. I
Okay.
think from what I read, was pretty cut and dry that this first season is the first game.
Okay. Because yeah,
So
I mean, that again is fair. Maybe they'll do something like for the finale, and I don't want to spoil people for haven't seen the game, but there's like a main thing that I'm sure you and I are both thinking of that is going to happen in the finale, like a main sequence, if you will. And I guess that could kind of fit in a short segment, honestly, like maybe a 15-minute segment. So maybe like all of episode 8 and like half or even most of the finale is still David, and then there's this one segment at the end. I don't know, but yeah, I guess it's not really. We can talk more about that in the next 2 episodes. But yeah, I feel like we're if not on the same page. I'm with you with what you're saying about this episode, and I guess kind of beyond that. Uh, what were your thoughts as far as how they adapted? Again, because I think you remember I remember the DLC, but we've talked about this. How my memory of the game is kind of hazy at best. Is it pretty true to what you remember?
they didn't have the captain, or I can't remember his rank. Kwong, I think his name was.
Oh, right.
They wasn't in the game, obviously. So I actually really like how they fleshed out kind of the tension between, is Fedra a necessary evil or not?
Mm-hmm.
Because the game is pretty much like they are, authoritarian, evil people, basically. So I did kind of like how they built that out. I like that adaptation. Otherwise, it felt like the game to me. I really appreciated it. I thought they did a great job with it. And I thought it was a great just respect to Ellie's backstory. Like, it gave us,
Yeah.
if you haven't played the game, you saw the couple of lines earlier when she said she hadn't killed someone before or killed something before, and she didn't have a boyfriend. Like, I thought this was a great answer to those
Mm-hmm.
questions early on.
Yeah. Agreed. And I thought the actress did a really good job of, and I can't remember her name for some reason, but the other girl.
Yeah.
What was that character's name? You remember?
I don't.
She has a name, right? Like she was
Yeah.
named, I think.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just can't think of it.
But I thought
Let's
she
see.
did well. It was cool to see the wonders, and we found out, where she got the book, which I couldn't remember in the game if that's how she got the book or not. I'm assuming it probably is. Um, Not that it's an ultra important distinction.
Yeah, sorry, I was just trying to find person's name. I guess it doesn't really matter, but Riley.
Riley, yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
I thought
So
she did well. And
she
then
did, yeah.
I'm trying to. Where did the episode leave us with them? Like in the
Um
flashback, where did it leave us? Did it?
them basically just like absolving to
Oh yeah, like
embrace.
live as long as they can type of thing.
Yeah.
Do you
Which I
think?
think it's go ahead.
I was gonna say, do you think we'll pick back up with that at all? Doesn't seem really necessary, but it also feels like we didn't even.
I
I
think
don't
it's
know.
cleaner and more respectful to the story to just let it be implied
Mhm.
what it is than I don't know. I guess I could see it either way, but um, that is basically the DLC. So
Right.
I think it's also implied that she had to kill Riley. right?
We'll see. I feel like that's in that, if I'm recalling correctly, that or one of the last scenes where they're talking about it. There's like, she's giving like the list of ways they could handle this, and I feel like they landed on, let's just ride this out with as much time as we have left. If it's 2 days, if it's 2 hours or whatever. But I'm guessing that's why I brought this up, because the whole comment about like this isn't the first person I've had to kill. To me, that was implying her earlier, but now that we've seen this, I feel like they would show that rather than just leaving it. But maybe they wouldn't, and maybe you're just supposed to put two and two together that ultimately Ellie, it got to the point where Ellie had to like shoot her when she became a
Yeah.
zombie. But if they go back to that flashback, that's even less time that they have to, handle. I mean, not that they couldn't just resolve it in like 30 seconds if they wanted to, but
Yeah, I will say, like, the flashback itself, I was having a tough time following its meaningfulness related to Joel, because like Joel basically tells her like leave, get out of here, and she goes to the door and like kind of hesitates, and like enter in flashback.
mm-hmm.
So the only connection I could make was Riley turning and told her like leave me, like you got to go, and so she did, and like maybe she's regretted it ever since.
Yeah.
Maybe she didn't shoot her, maybe she was like I left her. Otherwise I don't really, the two present and past pairing is a little fuzzy for me.
I had that same thought, and it could be exactly what you were just saying. If we don't get that, then my interpretation would be, Joel was telling her to leave, like and she's having the moment at the door. That could be correlating to her just leaving. She does end up coming back when she hears the screams, but she does choose to leave. Maybe that's kind of weak since she does go back anyway, but if we don't end up getting that moment you're talking about, maybe that's all. Maybe that's the parallel they were drawing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I know in the game we don't get any other, I mean, it was a DLC, so in the game we don't get any other callbacks to it, except for maybe like a mentioning in episode 2, though I don't really quite remember. But all that to say, my expectation moving forward, and again, assuming I don't get frustrated with this, I would assume all of episode 8 is going to be David. 9 will either continue and resolve it, or it'll just be done, and 9 will be entirely the resolution of the show.
Mm-hmm.
The game does end a little abruptly, so I also wonder, similar to Henry and Sam after they died, we got the burial scene right after. That's just a few minutes. I would not be surprised to see something created at the end of the season. And it's television, so maybe they might even have, a little stinger for season 2. I don't know. So, which the game didn't have that, but
right.
Who's to say?
Yeah, that's interesting. I could see it just being exactly like the game too, though. Just again, I don't want to get into it, but yeah, now I'm curious how they're gonna spend this last 2-ish hours, which I wonder. Hopefully, the last two were long. I know we've kind of had, like, the first episode was like an hour and a half, right? And then we've had some that are really short.
Yeah. Let's see if I can find the run times.
The more the merrier, honestly, for these last two.
Right. Let's see. Don't want to watch the preview. Nice try.
On the whole, though, I have this, like, the merits. How do I say this? The merits of each episode, like standing on its own two legs, has been really good for me for each one.
What'd you say?
I was saying that, like, there are these criticisms we're having. It, like, you especially back in, say again.
I said right.
Back in episode 3, I think it was, and then this one potentially with the asterisk of how the rest is kind of panned out to see how it slots in. Those criticisms aside, I was saying that, like, each episode in a vacuum, I still thought has, like, been like high quality, and like
Yes.
able to stand on its own.
Yeah, and
Um,
I would put this season as a whole so far still at in the A grade category. It's been amazing.
yeah,
So
agreed. Um, so I'm hoping they can, land the plane with these last two this season. But um, I mean, yeah, basically so far so good. But I'm kind of with you with the things you're pointing out. It,
so
no, go
pulling the
ahead.
run times, tonight or Sunday's episode's 51 minutes.
Okay.
The finale is the shortest episode at 43 minutes, including the previously credits, title sequence, all that stuff.
Dang, now that you say that, I feel like I remember we saw like looked that up before. That's crazy. I hope that's wrong.
Yeah, which again, I not to put cart before the horse, but I'm expecting when we evaluate the season as a whole, it's going to be great season, a little bit questionable in terms of um,
Like the
just
pacing.
just the pacing and just how much time was spent in each section.
Mm-hmm.
Um, like Bill and Frank, great episode, but if you get an hour plus for that, which wasn't in the game, and then you reduce one of the main plot points, um, this upcoming episode to 50 minutes. Same thing with Henry and Sam, great pair of episodes, but all this world building in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What do I know about television? But I just know for me, I'm just hoping they do it justice. And maybe we see Sunday's episode and we're like, that was it. That they
Yeah.
nailed it. They hit it. And we're satisfied. So
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not trying to complain because, and not to repeat ourselves, but we've loved it. But yeah, I wonder, like, I'm starting to think like this would have been like a great 12 episodes. Like,
mm,
had a little bit more
yes,
space. You can have that Bill and
yes.
Frank episode, and it doesn't take away from anything else. Which I don't want
I,
to lose the Bill and Frank episode by
right,
any means.
right. Yeah. It just feels so crowded. I would even take a 10 episode. See, just one more episode, I
Yeah,
think creates enough space. But then again, with the finale at 43 minutes, that maybe that it seems like that would be all the story they had to tell. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess we can really probably have this conversation a bit better once the full season's over. But yeah, interesting to think about. I wonder if any of it was like they were HBO. I mean, was at all apprehensive about like, well, video game adaptations don't really do that well. Let's give you 9 for season 1, and we'll see how that goes. Like, I wonder if season 2 could maybe even have more episodes or something.
maybe, but it was also HBO who came back in episode 1 and said, "Hey, we want to add on 30 minutes to like flesh this out more.
Oh yeah,
Like, we
that's
want to give
true.
you more runtime."
That's true.
So I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
So we love the season. We're just
Yeah,
kind of
I feel like
airing.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds like this feels like a downer, which we'll have to
Uh
keep. Anyway, I don't know.
but yeah. Um I'm trying to get back on track with, I mean, there's not really, we didn't really talk much about the episode, but I almost feel like there's really not that much to say.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think only thing I would say would be more complaining about like tiny little cliches in television, which I mentioned in like our reaction, like alcohol having being so or like handling a gun and it's like so noisy,
Blake
which is
hates
just a
Foley
general.
artists. We figured this out.
I do not.
He
I
wants
just
them all to be, lose their jobs.
when it makes sense, but when you're just holding it, it's like I'm like,
Yeah.
this is the loudest gun. It makes no sense. Um. Anyway, I get it. I just think it's a little whatever. Doesn't matter. I shouldn't even say it because it's so petty. So anyway, great episode though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Honestly, I did really enjoy it.
right.
I I can't remember with Joel in the games. I mean, I guess I don't want to like potentially spoil, but I think we're kind of past it. I guess you know better, so I guess you'll know if you should answer or not. But in the games, you talked about the university sequence. It's Ellie like dragging Joel out to safety. Here, we just kind of get a cut to them in this shack, and at the end of the episode, she's sewing him up. Is that what happened in the games? As far as like, is Ellie the one that gets him back to okay, or do they find like a people that like they're the doctor or
No,
something?
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a miraculous recovery, really. I mean, you actually almost assume that he's dead, and then he's revealed to be like recovering. I mentioned this either in the last episode or in the reaction, but in the game, they also have Ellie sort of have to fight her way out, and it's sort of like her first moment standing for herself, which we didn't quite get in the show, and maybe it wouldn't have made sense in the show, but otherwise, it's generally how it happened.
Okay.
So,
yeah, because I could not remember how that worked out, but yeah, okay, good to know that it was just basically the same with her. There wasn't some third party that swooped in to help. Yeah, I mean, it was cool seeing the seven wonders or whatever they're called. In
yeah,
our, you brought this up, but it's, in the DLC, like those were like your objectives to go
right.
visit the wonders of the
Yeah.
mall.
Well, I guess let us know what you guys thought of the episode. And, if you want to just talk about the episode or just even share kind of our thoughts about the season, share your own thoughts about the season, let us know down in the comments. And we'll be watching this Sunday. So,
Yeah, just two more, and
yeah.
don't forget, we're doing a giveaway at 5,000 subs. I think we're getting pretty close, maybe 100-ish, 150-ish away. Again, we still haven't talked about this, so it's probably going to be Tell Dory Reborn, but we still aren't sure. Critical Role episode 50, we gotta coming down the pipeline. We gotta talk about, and then Worlds Beyond Number. We're probably going to talk about, but we'll have to see
Yeah.
in the next couple weeks how things shake
Yeah.
out.
All right. Well, that does it, guys. Let us know your thoughts again, and we'll catch you later.
Bye, y'all.
See ya.